Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Jake and Mrs. Jake here for GD Honey Acres. We are once again in the apiary, and we are going to put Mite Away quick strips in today, which is Formic Acid. Formic Acid is organic. Bees make it naturally. This is just a stronger concentration. That way the mites get killed off. We are about a week behind schedule, and that's because a tornado went right by our house and destroyed a bunch of trees, and we've been picking up since then. So we're finally able to get out here. Our last hot day was literally, what, last Sunday? Yeah, literally last Sunday was our last day above 90 degrees. We are currently sitting about 74 right now. And it's going to be like this for the next few weeks, like month and a half, 2 months, so it's perfect. So as soon as we're done treating, we are going to feed the bees. So first things first, I'm going to have to go through Dorothy. No, this ain't Dorothy. Which one is this? This is just a swarm hive. We don't have a name for it yet. First things first, I'm going to go through the swarm hive. Make sure our queen is not stuck up here. Because remember last time we put a queen separator in here. Queen excluder. Sorry, my brain's foggy. I'm suffering from bronchitis. She has a cough, so this is awesome.
Allergies.
Yeah, she's got allergies. Well, I wish. That was my issue.
Maybe that's what started it.
Maybe. But I'm going to go through this one, make sure our queen is not up here. If she's not, I will put a reducer underneath this box. Keep my queen excluder on there. And then we're going to have a box on top and put our Mite Away quick strips underneath the queen excluder. No, underneath the underneath this box, so it's on top of the brood chambers. First thing we got to do is we got to pull all of our entrance reducers because you want as much flow as possible with the Mite Away quick strips. And then we're going to add on an extra box, totally empty on top of every hive. And then the Mite Away quick strips, 2 of them, 1 full dose, gets put on top of the brood chamber. And then we close them up and leave them for 5 to 7 days. And we're good. You could also do the method where it takes 2 weeks. That's 1 strip every 7 days. It's all in your instructions. Do exactly what the instructions say. You're going to watch us set it up. We've been doing this for 3-4 years now, so we're going to keep doing it the way we've been doing it because it's worked pretty well. All right, we are going to get started. We have 35-40 minutes left of daylight, so we're just going to work, and you'll just tag along. All right, one thing to remember when you're dealing with the Formic Acid strips, the Formic Pro, Mite Away quick strips, don't breathe in the fumes, wear gloves, all right? You don't need to get hurt doing this. Safety is always a must. That's why it's always very important to also read all of your instructions. All right, I got this one done. Back to work. All right, Mrs. Jake, tell them what we just did.
Why?
Because
you did it all. He can tell you.
You have a softer, more pleasant voice than I do.
I'm also too quiet to be picked up by the camera.
Excuses. All right, so we went through, well, I went through this hive. Our swarm hive still does not have a name yet. There was no evidence of brood in that box there. So I went ahead and added our second box, took the entrance reducer off the front, put our escape above the queen excluder, and we have our mite strips sat right in on top of here. And I didn't close this back entrance off all the way for this inner cover. That way it does, I don't know, off gas and has a way to escape out the top, but bees can't get in here.
I have a question.
What's up?
Why'd you put an escape on?
I put an escape on because if you watch the last episode, we still had a box with honey and brood in it, but we wanted to make sure that the queen got down and all the brood hatched, and currently the brood is all hatched. So we have the escape on underneath this box so all the bees are forced down and out. That way we could take this box off, harvest the honey, because we condense our hives down to 1 deep, 1 medium for the brood chamber, and that's usually enough food to get them through winter.
I have another question.
What's up?
Is it okay to harvest and ingest the honey that has been treated for mites?
You read your instructions, firstly. With formic acid, it is perfectly safe. That's why I use it. It is the most safe organic acid there is for this. Some people will use OA, which is oxalic acid. You cannot have the honey if you treat with oxalic acid. That's been the thing for that for many, many, many years. Even though some people say, oh, humans can handle a little bit. I'm sorry, I'm not going to put that in my body because those crystals stay and they get in your lungs. Which is one reason we don't treat with oxalic acid. There's another reason, I'm going to get in a whole video on that eventually. But basically, you could treat with OA as much as possible. You might kill off mites that are already out of the cells, but it never penetrates past the wax capping. So there's still 3 to 5 mites inside that cell that you don't kill. The bee emerges, boom, they walk into another cell, lay eggs, you're never killing them all off. Formic acid gets into the cells, kills everything. Kills all the mites, in the cells, out of the cells, takes care of everything. That's why we use it, so our bees don't have to worry about it going into winter. Currently, they're still pulling in pollen from somewhere, and they're pulling in some kind of nectar, probably from the trees that are cut down, and they're getting all the sap. But we use formic over OA for reasons. I've got an article I'll do a video on later. A university did a big study on it. Basically, it came out to say OA is useless. It's a waste of money. That's the gist of it.
There'll be a lot of beekeepers that will probably disagree, but...
Oh, they'll extremely disagree.
Right.
It's a fad, in my opinion, because there's a big market around oxalic acid vaporizers, and people are making a lot of money off of it, and I disagree with it. That's me, but also I'll read the article to you eventually here. Probably in the next couple weeks, I'll do a video on it. So then we went ahead, added an empty super on top. Our strips are laid in there on every one of them on the brood chambers. You want them on the brood. You generally don't want them on top of a honey super. But for this one, since we're kind of closing it down because we have a skateboard, I think we'll be okay. It'll off-gas enough that it should settle out and kill the mites. It's going to be nice and cool, like 70s is going to be the highest we're getting, which is great. Because if it gets in the 80s, we have had it to where it off-gassed too much and killed one of our colonies last year.
Yeah, it was too hot.
I think the instructions like 85 to 90, you're not supposed to do above that. But we're only in the low 80s and it still did it.
I think it was actually like, it got about 85.
We got about 85?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it off-gassed too fast and killed the bees. They couldn't handle it. It just too much of that acid in the air. So yeah, Sophia's PO'd already. That's just how she is. I called her Lucifer earlier. I think it's a fitting nickname. Another good thing about formic acid, it's will degrade. You can put it right in your compost bins and it'll biodegrade. There's no issues there, so you don't have to throw it in the trash. A lot of other things you got to throw away. These ones do come in like an aluminum foil pouch. Her dad recycles aluminum, so we'll be able to go take our aluminum there, and everything else could basically go right in the pit that we use for our compost. There we go, compost pit.
Okay.
I knew what I was trying to say.
Okay.
So, if you haven't treated and you're a little bit late, like we were, get out there, treat your bees now. You only have about a month and a half, 2 months left of fall, and then it's full-blown winter, and it'll be below 50 degrees, which is our threshold
For
getting
2-to-1 sugar.
for 2-to-1 sugar and for getting into hives.
Yeah.
So what I mean by that is consecutively for 5 days straight, it's got to be below 50 degrees for an average, and then we will not get into our hives any longer. So we're on a time crunch for about a month and a half right now of getting all of this done. We're going to get the Formic done. As soon as we pull those off, we're feeding 2-to-1 sugar in our big gallon buckets. And then it'll be shims, granulated sugar on top, wrapping them up and storing them away for the wintertime.
So we're treating for mites, just even though we didn't test for them to do like a sugar roll or an alcohol wash to see if there were mites present, we just always do a mite treatment before we go into winter just to be safe.
Yep, just to make sure that all the mites are killed off, because the mites, they feed off the fat of the bees. So if the bees don't have the fat stores on their bodies, they're not going to make it through winter. So we haven't had mite problems really the past 2 years, and we've only done the mite away strips at the end of the year before fall or right at the beginning of fall like we're doing now, just as a precaution. Otherwise, we've been kind of having a little bit more of a hands-off approach with our colonies, and I think they've been doing well, especially with the drought this year where we left supers on a bunch of them, and they used all the food stores up, which I think was a good call. But we're going to get out of here. It is almost dark. I'll pray for your family if you pray for ours as well, please. And pray you're doing well wherever you are, wherever you are. Any last words, Mrs. Jake?
Bye.
We love you. Bye.